Here's what's on your feed today. The CIDG recommends hazing charges against former Ateneo coach Tab Baldwin and 10 others over the deaths of 2 basketball players. House prosecutors question why Vice President Sara Duterte's camp is objecting to the opening of a sealed box containing her tax records. Motorists could see either a rollback or another round of fuel price hikes next week as global oil prices remain volatile. Severe tropical storm Gardo leaves the country, but the southwest monsoon continues to bring strong winds and rains. And a wild elephant smashes into a moving bus in Sri Lanka, driving its tusks through the windshield but leaving passengers unhurt. Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan. The PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group has recommended the filing of complaints for alleged violations of the Anti-Hazing Act against several individuals linked to the deaths of Ateneo athletes Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili. And for more details, we go live to mobile journalist Jazz Paredes at Camp Crame. Jazz, okay, who are these individuals facing possible complaints?
Denise, inirekomenda ng PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group na makasuhan ang 11 individual kaugnay ng kanilang 2 linggong fact-finding investigation sa nangyaring pagkalunod na ikinasawi nila student-athletes Rene Baterbonia at Divine Adili. Ang 11 individual na daw na yan ay lumabag sa Anti-Hazing Act at ito ang mga pangalan ng 11 individual na iyan. Una sa listahan ay si dating head coach Tab Baldwin. Sinundan niya ni Grant Dearns, Cesar Vincent Havellana Ilumba, Dean Cesar B. Castaño, Sandro Nicolas Romero Soriano, Reynaldo C. Jacinto Jr., Paulo Manuel Maceda Adivoso, Andrew Lorenzo Bondoc Salud, John Eric Kiambao Rueca, Aris Ramos Fronce, Palmiano Rapa. At Denise, itong mga individual na ito ay karamihan sa kanila ay staff ng Ateneo basketball team, assistant coaches, coach, utility staff, and student managers. At ito daw, kaya raw ito ang mga naisama na makasuhan dahil sila raw yung magkakasamang nagplano nitong team building kahit pa aware o nalalaman ng mga tao nito na mahaharap sa iba't ibang risks itong mga estudyante.
Jazz, looking at the names on the list, may dalawang utility/ball boy, pati na rin dalawang student manager. Nagbigay ba ng explanation yung CIDG kung bakit kasama sila given the fact na they do not have the capacity to call shots in whatever happens to the quote-unquote team building na nangyari dito sa Aurora?
Yes, Denise, yan din sana yung nais nating klaruhin during the press conference kanina. Ngunit hindi nabigyan ng pagkakataon na isa-isahin kung ano nga ba yung naging partisipasyon itong mga individual na ito dahil nga may utilities, merong student managers, hindi ito yung inaasahan din natin na mapapabilang doon sa makakasuhan. Ngunit ang general explanation sa atin kanina ay sila daw ay mga present during the team building at nandun sila nung nangyaring insidente. Ngunit hindi natin pa makumpirma sa ngayon, Denise, kung ano yung eksaktong role nila dito sa nangyaring violation of the Anti-Hazing Act. Ngunit ating yan kukumpirmahin, Denise.
Okay, so itong mga pangalan dito sa listahan, what are the possible penalties that they could face kung mapatunayan nga na sila ay may sala?
Denise, sa ngayon hindi pa natin nakukuha yung mga posibleng kaharapin nitong mga nakalistang 11 individual na maaaring makasuhan nga nitong Anti-Hazing Act. Ngunit ang explanation din sa atin kanina, hindi pa ito pinal dahil nga rekomendasyon pa lamang ito ng CIDG, kumbaga sila yung complainant, Denise. At dahil nga ipapasa pa ito sa i-final na ito sa DOJ, ay nasa DOJ na raw ang susunod na bola. So sila ang magsasagawa ng panibagong investigasyon. So itong Anti-Hazing Act ay pwede pa raw mabago o mas bumigat. Dahil nga kung i-recall natin, Denise, ang naunang posibleng patunguhan ng direksyon ng investigasyon ay itong homicide o violation of the Anti-Hazing Act. So hindi pa ito yung final sa ngayon, Denise, ngunit malalaman natin sa mga susunod na patutunguhan ng investigasyon kung ano nga ba yung mga posibleng kaharapin ng mga 11 individual na ito.
Okay, ito bang si SILG Remulla, did he also give an update on the investigation naman of the Tacloban school shooting?
Denise, sa naging press conference kanina, no, hindi nakapagbigay ng updates itong si Secretary Remulla dahil nga napagtuunan ng pansin itong kanilang updates patungkol sa kanilang investigasyon nga sa Ateneo drowning incident. Ngunit Denise, ang nalalaman natin sa ngayon, ayon na rin doon sa naging press conference ng DSWD, ay pupuntahan ngayong araw ng mga psychologist itong dalawang CICLs natin para magsagawa ng counseling at psychological assessment. So sa assessment daw na ito, Denise, ay kakausapin ang dalawang bata at dito raw nila nais malaman kung ano yung naging rason sa likod ng kanilang pamamaril nga sa Tacloban, Leyte. Denise.
All right, thank you for that update. Again, that was our mobile journalist, Jazz Paredes. Now, Ateneo de Manila University President Father Bobby Yap appeared before the NBI today as a probe into the deaths of Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili continues. For the details, we have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, what can you tell us about Father Yap's appearance at gaano nga ba siya katagal dyan sa NBI?
Yes, Denise, alas 10 ng umaga kanina nang dumating dito sa tanggapan ng National Bureau of Investigation ang Pangulo ng Ateneo de Manila University na si Father Robert Bobby Yap. No, tumagal siya ng humigit kumulang 1 oras dito sa Homicide Division ng National Bureau of Investigation para yan sa nagpapatuloy na investigasyon ng NBI sa pagkasawi ng 2 student athletes na sina Rene Baterbonia at Divine Adili sa isang team building activity na ginawa ng Ateneo Men's Basketball Team noong June 8 na nagresulta nga sa pagkalunod ng 2 student athletes. Inaasahan Denise na nagsumite si Yap ng mga tala at dokumento kaugnay ng nasabing team building activity at siya rin ang huling personalidad mula sa Ateneo Admin na ipinasabina ng NBI kaugnay sa nagpapatuloy nilang investigasyon na sa ngayon ay nasa 2 linggo na. No? At kabukod dyan Denise, no? Nagbigay siya ng kaunting statements sa media, though hindi tayo nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na maitanong ang ilang mga tanong na kailangan ng paglilinaw mula sa panig ng Ateneo. Denise.
Pero may karagdagang statement ba siya, Arles? Maybe a message to the families of Rene and Divine?
Denise, matatandaan natin na nag-viral noong nakaraan ang paghihinagpis ng ina ni Rene Baterbonia bago ito ilagak yung kanyang labi, no? Bago ilibing, kung saan nga sinabi doon ng kanyang ina na hindi umano humingi ng tawad ang general, no? Hindi humingi ng tawad sa nangyari sa kanya. No? Yan ay tila sinagot ni Father Bobby kanina kung saan muli niyang iginiit na nakipag-ugnayan sila sa pamilya ni Rene Baterbonia at Divine Adili sa kaparehas mismo na araw na mangyari itong tragic accident na kanilang tinatawag na nagresulta nga sa pagkasawi ng 2 student athletes. Kabukod dyan, tuloy-tuloy daw yung kanilang komunikasyon sa mga ito. No? Mula daw nang pumanaw itong si Rene, nung dumating dito sa Manila, mga magulang nito, kinausap nila niyam agad ang mga magulang ni Rene, no? At humingi ng tawad dito at patuloy nga silang nakikiramay dito. And on the side naman, doon sa pamilya ni Divine Adili, sinabi muli ni Father Bobby na tuloy-tuloy pa din yung kanilang koordinasyon dito at ngayon inaasahan na ililibing na nga ang labi ni Divine at nandoon ang isang Filipino Jesuit priest para umalalay sa kanila na kanya namang kinatawan para pagpapatunay nga ng kanilang pag-alalay dito sa nangyari. No? At kabukod dyan, handa silang magbigay ng suporta dito sa pangyayari na ito at sa paparating pang mga taon dahil nga sa nangyaring tragic accident na kinasangkutan ng buhay ng 2 student athletes.
Arles, alam natin the CIDG has already recommended charges against those individuals allegedly involved in this incident. Pero ang NBI ba ay may plano rin na magsampa ng sarili nilang mga kaso at kasama din ba dyan yung Anti-Hazing Act, if ever?
Well, Denise, patungkol doon sa kaso na pinubuo, no? Asa ngayon, ang masasabi pa lamang natin, full report at recommendation ang isusumite ng NBI sa Department of Justice sa susunod na linggo bilang bunga ng kanilang 2 linggo na investigasyon at pagpapatawag, no, sa ilang mga personalidad kagaya na lamang ni Father Yap at ng ibang mga atleta ng Ateneo de Manila University. No? Kabukod dyan, Denise, no, yung patungkol doon sa anti-hazing law, hindi pa natin masisigurado at masasabi na ayun nga yung magiging rekomendasyon din nila, kasi at the end of the day, Denise, no, magkaibang law enforcement agency na nagkandak ng magkaibang investigasyon itong mga law enforcement agencies natin, no. So aabangan natin kung magkakatugma na ba ito, no. Pero kung sakali na magtugma at anti-hazing din violation ang magresulta dito at ang kanilang irekomenda sa NBI, no, or sa DOJ rather, ay posible na kung sino man yung kanilang irekomenda na makasuhan, mahaharap sa ilang taon na pagkakakulong, at kabukod dyan, yung tinatawag natin, no, pwedeng reclusion for perpetua na pagkakakulong, at pwedeng magmulta ng nasa 3 million pesos na halaga, higit lalo kung mayroong individual na nasawi matapos ng isang pangyayari. Denise.
Okay, pihit muna tayo, Arles. Itong NBI naman, did they file a qualified human trafficking complaint against former Congressman Mike Defensor already?
The latest we have on that, Denise, is that at 4:51 p.m., agents of the National Bureau of Investigation has arrived at the Pasig Regional Trial Court to file what Director Matibag has said, complaint for qualified human trafficking against former Congressman Mike Defensor. This is in connection with the KTV bar that was raided by the Bureau on in the month of April, where 54 women who were allegedly saved from sexual exploitation and an allegation of human trafficking for that. We're still waiting, Denise, kung napirmahan na nga ba at napanumpaan na ba yung reklamong qualified human trafficking dito kay dating Congressman Mike Defensor, na paulit-ulit niya nang itinanggi ang mga alegasyon na ito.
All right, thank you for your report. Again, that was mobile journalist Arles De Los Santos. Now, 3 former DPWH officials linked to the flood control scandal are now facing tax evasion cases worth more than 1.68 billion pesos. The Bureau of Internal Revenue says the Justice Department has approved the filing of 44 criminal tax cases against JP Mendoza, Henry Alcantara, and Bryce Erickson Hernandez. The cases stem from alleged non-filing of tax returns and severe underreporting of income. Based on the BIR's findings, Mendoza faces around 179 million pesos in tax liabilities. Alcantara's alleged tax liability is pegged at more than 913 million pesos. Hernandez, meanwhile, allegedly failed to file income tax returns from 2020 to 2024 with unpaid taxes amounting to more than 593 million pesos. The BIR says the cases may now be filed before the Court of Tax Appeals. The 3 are also facing graft complaints before the Ombudsman. More stories when One Newsfeed returns. Stay tuned. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Welcome back. The pre-trial conference on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment case has wrapped up, setting the stage for the trial proper on July 6. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza reports.
After a recent school shooting which lost the lives of 3 students in Tacloban, the House Makabayan Bloc congressman filed a bill that would inquire on the said matter. The recent shooting also involved 2 minors identified as the suspects of the tragedy. For ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino, incidents of school violence in the country is slowly becoming an issue that must be addressed sooner.
Hindi dapat na ipakulong. At mas ang kailangan natin ay yung tamang pagpapatupad ng kasalukuyang batas, yung juvenile justice law. Hindi naman sinasabi ron na kapag below 15 years of age ay basta wala nang gagawin ang gobyerno at walang pananagutan dito.
Aside from strengthening the juvenile justice law, the bill also included agency interventions and providing mental health services to students. At the same time, the bloc also calls for an investigation on the current whereabouts, security classification, and the alleged special treatment given to convicted criminal former Major General Jovito Palparan Jr. In 2018, Palparan was convicted by the Malolos Regional Trial Court for the kidnapping and serious illegal detention of 2 University of the Philippines students.
Ngunit may mga ulat na o may mga indikasyon na maaaring wala siya sa bilibid. May isang dokumento na nagsabi na tinransfer daw siya sa PNA sa Baguio. So, gusto nating malaman talaga ang buong katotohanan hinggil sa actual na kinalalagyan itong si Palparan at kung may special treatment man na binibigay sa kanya bilang former general ng Armed Forces in the Philippines.
Meantime, the pre-trial conference for the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte was marked accomplished on Thursday night, June 25. Included in the list of witnesses of the prosecution panel are Court Sheriff Abe Andres, who was punched by VP Sara during a demolition operation in Davao City in 2011. Another was Mary Grace Piatos, who was alleged to be one of the recipients of the Vice's confidential funds.
Well, mahalaga po yung Mary Grace Piatos kasi nasa sentro siya eh. Nung pong kontrobersiya, nung pong paggamit ng confidential funds, no? Yung existence or non-existence po ni Mary Grace Piatos, yung pong smoking gun, kung talaga nga bang tama o mali. Yung pong paggamit ng confidential funds. And going back to the COA report, marami po doon ay obviously hindi ho tamang paggamit.
As pre-trial matters finish, the actual impeachment trial shall continue on July 6 at the Senate. Kapatid Amy Atienza, we are One News.
The House Prosecution Panel says the sealed BIR box is a material piece of evidence in the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. House Prosecution spokesperson Attorney Jay Tolosa said the tax records inside the box will be compared with the Duterte Carpio spouse's SALN to determine whether their declared income matches the reported assets. The prosecution also argued that the defense should not object to the marking of the BIR box, saying the records are needed to establish a baseline for comparison. The Senate Impeachment Court has yet to rule on whether the box will be opened and admitted as evidence.
Iba pa ho to dun sa usapin na what the wealth that they've actually accumulated is way more than what's disclosed in the SALN, no? Because as shown in the proceedings before the Committee on Justice, no, there are billions of transactions, no, involved in the bank records of the spouses.
Tacloban City Mayor Alfred Romualdez is calling the deadly school shooting a wake-up call for both parents and the government. In an interview on One News's Political Beat, Romualdez underscored the important role of parents in raising their children. He said many of the children rescued in the city's anti-trafficking operations come from neglectful or abusive homes. Romualdez also clarified his earlier remarks in which he said parents should not expect the government to discipline or raise children they cannot properly care for. He said his remarks were not meant to blame all parents, but to stress that some families need greater support while others fail to provide proper care.
We need a mechanism or an institution in our government that for parents that really cannot handle their children. For example, may PWD, naging PWD yung mga parents, hindi nila talaga maasikaso yung mga anak nila. That's what I meant actually. But there are some parents also na pabaya talaga, na iniiwanan nila yung mga bata. Pagkatapos, papabayaan na lang sa gobyerno.
One Newsfeed will be back after this short break. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Motorists could see either a price rollback or another round of increases at the pumps next week. The Energy Department says gasoline prices could go down by as much as 50 centavos per liter or go up by as much as 1 peso and 50 centavos. Diesel prices, meanwhile, may drop by up to 80 centavos per liter or increase by as much as 1 peso and 20 centavos. The DOE says the final price adjustments will be determined on Monday. This comes as global oil prices remain volatile amid the evolving situation in the Middle East. The agency added that the possibility of lower prices is being driven by the lifting of U.S. sanctions on Iran as oil shipments continue to move freely through the Strait of Hormuz. This has raised expectations of higher oil supply from Gulf producers. Meanwhile, severe tropical storm Gardo has exited the Philippine area of responsibility. As of 11 a.m., Gardo was last spotted 1,310 kilometers east-northeast of extreme northern Luzon. It is packing winds of 95 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 115 kph. Pag-asa said Gardo stayed inside the PAR for less than 24 hours and is now moving towards southern Japan. The Weather Bureau added that the storm had no direct effect on the country. Despite Gardo's exit, the southwest monsoon will continue to bring gale-force winds across most of Luzon. Similar conditions are also expected over Batanes, the Babuyan Islands, Ilocos Norte, and Ilocos Sur. Meanwhile, a yellow rainfall warning remains in effect over Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro. A new tourism experience is giving visitors the chance to not just learn about Philippine history, but to wear it as well. Mobile journalist Daniel Dayaw has a report.
Mabuhay! Here in Intramuros, visitors are stepping into Philippine history, wearing the heritage to Barong Tagalog or this traje de mestiza. No need for a time machine to experience history. Because inside Fort Santiago, some tourists are dressing up in traditional trajes and barongs while exploring one of the country's most historic sites.
Walking around Intramuros is like going back in time, roaming around the walls, looking at the old houses, and really just stepping back into history. This is a full circle experience, and just like Dr. Jose Rizal said, no history, no self.
Po masasabi ko pong special kasi na try ko po mismo sa sarili nating bansa kasi po nung nakaraan I tried in Thailand, Central Asia. Diba yung feeling na matry mo sa sarili mong bansa. Po nakaka-proud po magsuot ng natin, national dress.
The concept is led by Traje de Intramuros, offering what it calls a full-circle cultural experience in the heart of Manila. And the main goal, to let visitors see and wear the heritage.
Since we had this chance to have a place here inside Fort Santiago, so I came to that idea of having or put up an attire rental shop wherein we can showcase also our cultural heritage through dressing up. Main direction is to have a full circle experience for the tourists, not only for them to wear the heritage, but also to experience it fully.
The experience offers a complete head-to-toe look. For the ladies, a traje de mestiza includes a panuela, camisa, overskirt, and the main skirt. While for gentlemen, different styles of Barong Tagalog are available. Accessories such as headpieces, necklaces, and hats are also available to complete the fit.
I think the unique experience that you can have here is that you just don't need to dress it up. You're actually walking to the heritage site. And I think it's a perfect setting also. We always say, wear the heritage. So when you go around with our traditional attires, you're walking with pride as a Filipino.
Rental packages ranged from 699 to 1,299 pesos. But the experience doesn't end there. On Sundays, visitors can also join heritage tours and watch cultural presentations inside Fort Santiago. And as more Filipinos look for ways to reconnect with their roots, some are now choosing to wear a piece of that history, one traje or barong at a time.
Kasi po for me, as a teacher, mahalaga na na mas makapunta tayo sa mga sa mga ganitong place at maisuot natin para masabi natin sa mga bata kung ano yung feeling. At so far nakaka-proud pa rin naman maging isang Filipino.
Kapatid Mobile Journal Daniel Dayaw, we are One News.
And before we go, a wild elephant caused a frightening encounter in Sri Lanka after charging and smashing into a bus. Footage shows the elephant charging toward the moving bus before driving its tusk through the vehicle's windshield. The incident happened Monday in the town of Kirinda, located in Sri Lanka's southern province. Fortunately, no one on board was injured, although the bus sustained damage. Wild elephants are commonly seen along roads near forest areas in Sri Lanka, where encounters with vehicles occasionally turn dangerous. And that wraps up One News Feed, the only feed you need. I'm Denise Tan. Good evening.